Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these 3 different Mother's Day card designs using watercolor. So first you're going to want to gather your materials. What you're going to need is your watercolor brushes. I'm using a number 6 round and a 1/4 inch flat brush. You're going to need your watercolor palettes, a paper towel or regular towel to wipe your brushes on, your 2 cups of water for clean water and dirty water. You're going to need some masking tape. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need a metallic brush pen. This one's gold, or you can use regular color pens too. You can even use a micron if you want, but for today's tutorial I'm using this gold brush pen. And then you're also going to need an X-Acto blade for cutting the masking tape. And then last but not least, we're going to need our watercolor paper. I purchased pre-folded and pre-cut 5x7 cards. So they come like this and they're already scored in the middle for you to fold it. But you can totally use sketchbook paper from your watercolor sketchbook or whatever other heavyweight watercolor paper that you have. And just make sure to cut it double whatever the size card you want widthwise, and score it in the middle so that it folds into a nice 5x7 or 4x6 card. We're going to start with the horizontal card design, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use either some painter's tape or some washi tape, and I'm going to tape off the part where we're going to write Happy Mother's Day. So you can just leave the ends here a little raggedy because we're going to go back in with our flat brush and do some like background colors, so it'll kind of be like very painterly looking anyway, so it doesn't matter too much that the edges are not straight. Alright, so first thing you want to do is decide on your color palette and get all your paints mixed up. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my red first, and I think I'm just going to do some like little roses. So to do those, I just kind of swirl my brush. I kind of use the tip and I press down a little bit to give it a little bit fatter lines, just to give it some more like dimension and variation. You can also wiggle your brush a little bit to get some less perfect strokes in there. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go for some, let's see, what should we go for? Let's go for some yellow. I'm gonna go for some yellow just to kind of mix in here. I'm gonna dilute it just a little bit because I don't want it to be super yellow. And I'm just gonna add little touches of yellow here just to make this a little more dimensional and not so flat with just that red color that I mixed. Smooth that out. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to mix up a little bit of green for our leaves. Alright, so once we have our green mixed up, we're just going to go in and start doing some leaves. Remember, pressure is key here when doing leaves. So see, I kind of push down really hard and then lift up as I get towards the end of the leaf. Lift up. Just going back in. And I think I'm gonna go on this side over here. I'm gonna spin this just to get better access here. And ready, I'm gonna push down and then lift up. Push down, lift up. Alright, next we're gonna go in with another color and just start kind of filling in with other little flowers and stuff, just to give it some variation. So I think I'm gonna do some like 3-leaf flowers here. Turn this way. I just kind of like dab my brush down. Then I'm gonna go back in with some green again and do some little stems on those little guys. Remember, these don't have to be perfect. This is a handmade card and we want it to look handmade. It doesn't have to look like it's mass produced or from the store. We want it to look like we put in a lot of effort, which we are, and that we painted this from the heart. Just gonna do some little leaves. Alright, so then let's go in with some of this magenta color. I'm gonna water it down just a little bit. And I think I'm gonna go for like a kind of peony flower, but not too big. So I don't want it to be crazy looking. So maybe like a half open one. And the way I do peonies is I kind of just do like rounded strokes, all kind of like layering and different heights and lengths, and they all kind of come from like a main point here where you kind of like pull out and around. Just keep doing that, and then in the center it's more straight. I think that one looks good. And then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of yellow again and kind of give it some more dimension. I'm just going to touch down here near the base and let it bleed naturally. It did go a little more than I wanted, so I'm just going to dry my brush a little bit and then kind of clean this up. We're going to keep it moving. We're gonna get some more flowers in here. I'm just gonna continue doing similar ones to these two until we fill up the top and the bottom. Alright, so now we have this mostly done. So we're gonna just let this sit, let it dry, and then we'll take the tape off and get to work on the lettering. Alright, so now that our painting is all dry, we're gonna peel the tape off to reveal the part where we're gonna do the hand lettering. I'm gonna show you guys a little trick real quick. So see this smudge? The Mr. Clean dry erase sponges, if you wet them a little bit and then use them on your watercolor paper, they will fix mistakes very well. Just a little cool tip for you. So now we're ready to do the background for the hand lettering portion. So I'm gonna get my flat brush. That's this one that's like square. Any flat brush will work, or actually you could even use your round brush if you really want to. So we're going to pick a color that kind of complements everything. I think I might go with like a light pink. So I'm just gonna grab some pink and then water it down a little bit. And then I'm just going to start dragging this across here. And it does not have to be perfect again, like the messier, the like more handmade it's gonna look, which is the look that we're going for. I'm gonna give a little bit more paint there. Alright, that looks good. We're going to let that dry again. Alright, so now we're going to get to doing the hand lettering part. So we're just going to write Happy Mother's Day right across here in a straight line. You can do it any style that you want. I'm going to go for kind of a cursive bounce lettering style. So I'm going to do it in pencil first, and then I'm going to go over it with my gold marker. I'm going to do it very, very light just in case we mess up, because it's a little hard to erase over watercolor if you mess up. So keep that in mind. Okay, perfect. Alright, so now I'm just going to go over that with my gold marker here. This is the Bestie metallic brush. And there we go. And there's our card, our first one. How cute. Alright, so we finished up our first card, and now we're going to move on to our second card here. I'm just going to grab another piece of my watercolor paper and get it prepped. So for this next design, we're going to do the circle one, where there's like a circle in the middle and then some flowers around the outside. Alright, so for this one, I'm going to use some masking tape. And what I'm going to do is pull some strips off of this. And if you need to, you can like press this against like your clothes to make it a little less sticky, or just kind of touch it a few times just so when you pull it off, it doesn't rip the paper. I'm gonna do it against my pants real quick. Get rid of the dog hair that's in there. So then we're just going to start pressing it down. And we're going to keep doing this until we have a big enough area that we can draw a circle in. Okay, so once you have your area taped, you're going to then get something that has a circle that you can kind of trace. So for this, I'm going to use my masking tape roll. And I'm just going to put it down and try to make sure it's centered or close to it. And then I'm gonna take my pencil. I'm just gonna trace around the inside and get that circle drawn on the masking tape. Okay, there we go. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get an X-Acto knife and we're gonna cut around the edge of this circle and then remove the outside tape from the area. So that's gonna be where we paint all of our flowers. Be very careful when doing this. These blades are very sharp. You want to keep them away from your fingers and always cut away from your body. Don't ever go like this and then that's dangerous. Don't do that. Okay, so once we have that cut, I'm going to put our lid back on our X-Acto blade and put that aside. And then we're gonna carefully pull this up. See if we cut it deep enough. Close. Very close. It looks like the parts... Oh, it's not too bad. Looks like I didn't cut deep enough. If you didn't cut deep enough in some spots, just be very careful and go back in with your X-Acto and just kind of re-cut those areas as needed. Looks like I did pretty good here. There we go. Just be very careful not to tear your paper when doing this too. There we go, that looks good. Alright, so once we have our tape laid out there, we have our little circle, we can start mixing our paint and getting to the painting portion. So for this one, I'm gonna go with some pinks and purples, I think. You can do any color you want, whatever color is your mom's favorite or your favorite. Doesn't really matter, just any color works. Alright, so again, we're gonna kind of do some roses and some peonies. And we just want to remember to mix up all the different flowers that we use. Just so it doesn't look repetitive or anything. So again, I'm gonna go in doing these little hard and soft strokes here to kind of make a rose sort of shape. Here's our first one. Then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of red here just to mix up the color. Not too much, just some little drops in the middle there. Perfect. Okay. And again, I think I'm going to do some more of those peonies. So I think I'm going to go more for a reddish, light reddish pink peony this time. So I'm just going to mix up that color real quick. Okay, so once we have that, I'm just going to get it. I'm going to dilute it a little bit with some water because I want it to be really light. And then I'm going to start doing our peony. So remember, peonies are, you pull the petals all from one central point, like this. I think I'm just going to do a couple around this area. Remember to leave some white spaces just so it doesn't look like one big blob. And then I'm also going to go in here and just do some like background petals. just to make it a little different from the other one. Alright, I think that looks good. Add another little bit there. Very cool. Alright, and I'm gonna go back in again and do another one of these roses. I think maybe like in this area, like a very small one, just to get some variation in here in color. Pretty. Okay, and I'm gonna do another one over this way. And then I'm gonna go back in again with our pink and just do some little touches here. Just want it to bleed a little bit. Just get some different colors in there to give it some depth. I'm gonna go back and do the same here. And then I'm gonna go back in again and add another peony up in this area. Remember, we want to do those curved strokes. I'm going to add some background petals here. And I'm going to go back in with some yellow and just add some little details to these in the middle. Add the little yellow bits that they have. And that one I'm going to wait because it's still super wet. We don't want it to bleed everywhere. I think I might add another little rose over this way. Okay, there we go. Just gonna sop up some of that extra water there. And then I'm gonna go back in with our pink. Just do some touches again, just to get that different color in there. So pretty. I think I might do a little peony bud over this way now too. Just kind of want to like even out the circle. Just gonna do a little one here. Remember, peony buds are very much like a little ball. I'm just gonna leave some little white bits in there, and then I'll add leaves and stuff around it. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to doing our leaves. I'm just gonna mix up some green and get that ready to go. And then we're gonna start going in and doing our leaves and stems. So again, remember when you're doing this to use varying pressure So we're gonna push down and then lift up, push down, lift up. We're just kind of filling in all these white spaces with some leaves. Remember to do different sizes, just so there's a lot of variation and it doesn't all look the same. Alright, so now we're just going to let this dry, and then when we come back, we're going to peel the middle tape off. Alright, so now that our card is dry, we're going to peel up this masking tape here. To get it lifted, I'm going to start on this side just because this is where it starts layering, and I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to kind of peel up the start of it. Okay, so there I have it started a little bit, and I'm just going to carefully peel the rest of it up. Now we have a nice crisp white circle for us to letter Happy Mother's Day in. Look how pretty that is. And what's great about this design is that this can go either vertical or horizontal. But I think for this one, I'm gonna go vertical. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our pencil and we're gonna sketch out Happy Mother's Day on this. Also, I want to note you can fill in this circle with a color if you really want to, but for this one, I'm going to leave it white just because I think it'll look very nice and it'll kind of tie in the white background. And you can do it in any hand lettering font that you want. I'm just going to mix it up and kind of do a little bit of regular letters and then a little bit of cursive just to give it some variation. So I'm actually going to go in with mothers first, since that's going to be like our middle area. And I want to make sure there's room for everything else. Okay, that looks pretty centered to me. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go back in with my gold brush pen and line over what I just drew. Alright, there we go. Alright, and there's our second card done. I'm just going to fold it to finish it off. And just a reminder, you can use the edge of a pen to really flatten it out. Or if you have a bone folder, use that. There we go. There's our second Mother's Day card, guys. Alright, so we're going to move on to our last and final card design. For this one, it's going to be similar to the first card design, but it's going to be vertical, and we're going to break up the words Happy Mother's Day into 3 lines. And they're going to look like little banners, and we'll have some flowers around them. So to start, we're going to get our masking tape again, and we're just going to peel off a couple pieces and lay them out into 3 stripes on the card. Remember to de-sticky your tape a little bit by putting it on your clothes and pulling it off. Just get like some lint on there and make it not so sticky so it doesn't tear your paper. Okay, and again I'm going to kind of go for the center area, as close to center as I can, and I'm just going to eyeball it. That looks pretty good. So this will be where Mother's goes. Day will be underneath. So I'm going to pull off another strip of masking tape, and this one I'm going to place just slightly above the first piece of tape, trying to keep it center again. Looks good. And then we're going to do a third piece, and this one will be a little bit shorter because this is where Day is going to go. And then we're going to place this one just slightly underneath. I'm trying to keep the spacing very close to the same between each line. That looks pretty good. I'm just eyeballing it. Again, these are handmade, so they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to look like a printer made them. We want them to look imperfect, and that's the beauty of getting a handmade card. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to look like a mass-produced card. It's going to be totally unique. Alright, so for this card, now that we have it all taped off, we're going to start going in and just filling in all this area with flowers. I'm going to do a yellow theme here, an orange and reds, a little bit different from the last one. So again, I'm just going to come in with some roses. Just do little swirls, different pressures, different line weights just to give it some variation. Then I'm going to go back in with a little bit of orange and just kind of add some different color into these. This one dried very fast, and so did this one, I think. Okay, that one didn't. That first one dried super fast, but I will fix it in just a second. Just want to get some orange in here. Get that beautiful bleed going. Okay, so this one I'm just going to go back in, kind of scrub a little bit, just to make it blend a little bit more. Again, just doing a little bit of scrubbing there, just to make it blend a little bit better. Beautiful. Now I'm going to mix up an orangey color to do some more peonies. So I think I'm going to do some little buds over this way. Remember, those peony buds are very round. They're like little balls of leaves and petals. Then let's do some full-size peonies over here. So remember, we're doing lots of C shapes, varying sizes. We're leaving some white space in here. That looks good. Now I'm going to go back in with some red and do some more roses and some rose buds and stuff, just so it's not looking all yellow and orange. We want some more color variation in this. So we're going to start filling in the leaves now. Just going to get my green. Okay, I'm going to go back into these peonies a little bit and just add those little yellow centers. So now we're just going to let this dry, and then when we come back, we'll peel off the tape. Alright, so once our flowers have dried, we're going to go ahead and start peeling up these strips of paint to reveal the little banner area where we're going to write Happy Mother's Day. Again, do it very carefully. If you need to, you can use your X-Acto blade to start it on the edge. Just carefully peel it up. Perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back in with some paint and make these 3 banners a color. We're gonna add a color background to them. And we're gonna grab our flat brush. That's this square guy. And I think for this one, I'm gonna do like a watered down orange color. And that's still a little bit brighter than I wanted, so I'm just going to go in with some plain water just to spread this out. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. We want it to look very handmade. Perfect. So now we're just going to let this dry, and then we will go back in and do our hand lettering. Alright, so now that our banners are dry, we're going to go in with our pencil and write in Happy Mother's Day. So then I'm going to go back in with my gold brush pen and go over all the letters. Okay, sorry guys, but my camera decided to shut off recording halfway through me going over the letters with the gold. But basically you're just going to hand letter Happy Mother's Day in pencil and then go over it with your gold pen or whatever other color that you want to do the letters in. So then I'm going to fold it. I'm going to go over it with my pen to kind of really get that fold set. And there we go. There's our 3rd card. How cute is that? So those are our 3 Mother's Day card designs. I hope you enjoyed making them, or maybe you got inspired by these to make your own designs. But let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye!